Hey, it's Detinho, man. This is going to be my new series. This time I'm going to be playing Dwarf Fortress. If you don't know this game, it's city builder slash RPG slash fantasy world simulation. Basically, there is so much stuff in this game that going over it right now in the introduction is kind of pointless because it's extremely elaborate. So instead of doing it, I'm gonna to be playing and telling you what to do and what I do and what are the effects of it on the world we are playing in on the run. So to start playing the game, you need a world to play in. You can create a new world with this little button. I'm going to explain all the settings right now. So, world size is pretty self-explanatory, from pocket to large. Then the history. When the world gets generated, there are multiple civilization and characters and beasts and monsters put into it, and then the world is getting simulated. There are multiple interactions, artifacts created, depths, and so on. And this basically simulates the history of the world and all the actions in it. You can go from very short to very long. Number of civilizations. Basically tells you how many different ships are going to be in this world before the simulation. Sites and tells you how many cities and different objects on the map are going to be generated initially. Number of beasts, well, it's a number of beasts in this world. Savagery tells you how difficult the terrain is going to be and how many wild animals and beasts, minor beasts, are going to be put into it. And mineral occurrence basically tells you how much resources are going to be in the earth of this world. So usually world generation takes quite a bit of time in this game, so instead of generating one right now, I did that a few minutes ago just to be able to start playing right away. So I can start the game right now. There are three modes: Dwarf Fortress, which is a city builder and strategy; Adventurer, which is an RPG where you control just one character, like in an RPG game. You can also create a party of 4 characters maximum. And Legends is basically a mode where you observe the history of the world and characters and artifacts and so on. So in this gameplay, I'm gonna be playing the Dwarf Fortress mode. So that's what I'm choosing in the world I just generated. I generated a world with which is large, which has a short history. You can see it right here. It's just 125 years. It has a lot of beasts, medium savagery. It has high mineral occurrence, so I don't struggle to find iron. And what else? Yeah, it has a lot of civilization and sites. Because I want a lot of trade partners and potential enemies on the map I could trade and defend against. So this is how the world looks like. Right now I am playing with Lazy Noob Pack. This is basically a mod to this game which allows you to, which makes it a little bit easier for new players. I played this game a little bit, but I'm not in any case any experienced player, so I'm gonna be um, starting this mode right now to see how much resources we are going to have on any site we are going to start playing in. Ideally, I'm looking for a site that has goblins as our neighbors, so we could get invaded. And also, I am interested in starting nearby a tower, a necromancer tower, so we could be invaded by undead. Also, I'm looking for a land that has flux stone to make iron. It's a resource required to make steel, not iron, sorry. And also, yeah, I'm looking for iron, silver. This region has tower, but it doesn't have goblins. Although a tower will probably be enough to make this game somewhat difficult. This site has goblins, but no towers. I want to also be somewhat close to other dwarven civilizations, so I could eventually become a mountain home and invite a king to live in my fortress. So I will consider starting nearby a tower, but goblins are going to be somewhat away from this site. Just give me a second, maybe I will find a better site. Usually it takes a little while to find a perfect site, but once you find it, the game is going to go quite smoothly. Here we have a lot of dwarven fortresses. And to the left there is a tower. But it's very hot climate, so it's not that great because they could our dwarfs could die out of heat alone in a scorching climate. It was basically a desert. Here we have a lot of dwarfs, goblins, a tower, so it seems perfect. I just need it's a warm or temperate temperature, so I just need a site with flugstone, iron, yeah, some silver. It's very close to a tower, so I will kind of need to hurry with producing weapons, so we could survive our first siege. But besides that, there is even some water, a brook, yeah, and we have all skulking, which are kobolds, goblin, human, elf neighbors, and a tower. There is some flugstone, clay. There is no aquifer, which means that there could be a lot of water underground. That's usually kind of annoying. So yeah, I'm gonna be starting here. Here we have some presets of our initial team of the dwarfs. When we start the game, I'm gonna go with the most popular one, the easy start, with 7 dwarfs, which have all the skills required to make it a smooth start. I started it, but yeah, here we are. Oh. So, for some mysterious reason, the game crashed when I embarked on this site, but I found it once again the exactly same place. You can see it here. So, we are near goblins, near a tower. and we have human and also elven neighbors. So here we are. We are going to start digging inside this little hill, and then we will go underground and strike the earth. First, I'm going to be chopping some towers. I mean chopping some trees. Here I can create a zone and set it to water source, so they will be taking water from this little uh, it's not a lake by any means, but it's just some water. So this place, this will be another zone for activities, and I will set it to gather plants and fruits. So later, when I have some dwarves with herbalist job, he will gather some fruits to make alcohol of. So I'm going to go inside this hill. This will be our defensive corridor. Later on, I will set some traps inside of it. I'm gonna dig this little room to have some place for stairs, and later on a trade depot for caravan. Let's go to the job list of our dwarves. We have 2 miners, one of them being the expedition leader. So these are the jobs that they will accept in the world. Ideally we want them to be specialized, but when we have only 7 of them, they cannot be specialized. Here are the hauling jobs. I don't want my miners to waste time on carrying items at the moment, so I will change that to only the other 5 carrying items. Also, we need more than one guy to design buildings, so it could be the woodcutter, the mason, and that should be enough. 3 architects. Also, when you click B, you go to building, and I will start by creating one farm plot. Probably I'm not going to have any kind of seeds to plant them outside, but still I'm going to create this one little farm plot. And when I unpause the game, the miners are going to be digging this little tunnel. I have to see if we have soil underground for underground farms. If not, I will create farms on this level. There's a report about someone fighting. It's just our hunter hunting for a wombat. So it's not it's nothing dangerous. Actually, this level is going to have soil for sure. So we have a lot of place, so I could create 2 farms here. I designated the digging, so here are going to be our farms. You have to hurry up with creating your first farms, unless you want your settlers, dwarves, to starve. You stack hematite, I think. Yeah, we have some iron on the level under it, but we have no soil. Usually when you play, you have to, unless you are already experienced, but you have to do a lot of googling. A lot of the minerals have and ores have names as in the real world, so instead of it just saying iron, it says it's hematite, but it's just some specific ore of iron. It's not it doesn't just say iron. So if you are not a geologist, you have to Google this stuff on the run. But this one I remember, it's an iron ore. We are close to the undead, and the undead are weak to silver hammers and maces. So it would be great if I could find some silver before they come. And usually the first invasion can happen after a few months, a year usually, but I don't want to risk it because I'm not completely sure. So I will be looking to create the silver weapons as fast as possible. Here I am placing the underground farms for shrooms and cave wheat. So we have iron on this level. This could be our industrial level. Also, it would be nice to see a little bit more of the underground layers. I will also need stockpiles for food and some wood inside, so we could. They don't have to go outside for the woods in case of a siege. We have struck tetrahedrites. It's an ore of silver and copper, I think. So that's silver. When you smelt it, you get both some copper and silver. So I can make this zone bigger and create the industrial workshops to smelt the iron, silver, and maybe even create steel. This is chalk. I'm not sure if that's a flux stone. I'm gonna see it later when they start to smelt the iron. So I will cancel this this tunnel here. And yeah, right now I have to wait for them to finish the room. Also, I'm gonna need some food stockpile. I will probably make it on this level 0. I'm just gonna make sure the main entrance to the fortress is just 1, and it's well protected by some copper traps. So the food stockpile, it could be near the entrance to the underground. It doesn't have to be very big. Also, I will create some food workshops next to the food stockpile, and also some more farms later on. So this farm is finished. Both of them are finished. You choose what kind of plants you plant in the selected season. So right now it's spring. I'm gonna plant plum helmets. It's some form of shroom. In the summer also plum helmets. In the autumn also, and all year round plum helmets. And in this here, I'm gonna go with dimple caps in the spring. In the summer, it's gonna be pigtails, or no, not yet the pigtails. I think it's also dimple caps. Yeah, also dimple cap. I will plant other plants later on when the farm gets bigger. Here you can see I have no seeds for anything that can grow outside, but you can also see that this list is much longer. And it's a pretty good terrain. There's not that much plants. It's not a jungle, it's just a regular forest. But I probably won't need much more wood than this, what you can see here. I probably should also create a stockpile for corpses outside, just for the future. And they will put corpses of the enemies here, and also dead animals. But there's a separate stockpile for animal refuse, like bones and leather. Because of that stuff you can create some items and make them into resources. So, boys, keep digging. I'm gonna create a small wood stockpile in here, so they don't have to go outside to take wood every time they have to create items from wood. And I get workshops right away, but I will start with furnace. I need a wood furnace, but just one should be enough. I'm gonna get a second one later. Also, we can get smelters also right away, even before we start creating basic stuff like beds. Normally I would start with beds and furniture, but I'm preparing for a possible invasion of the undead. Hopefully it won't be too big, because I won't be able to field a lot of warriors during our first year. Give me a second, I have to check something. That's okay, so yeah, they are just digging anyway. I have to start with creating some charcoal from the wood we have in here, but we also have coal. So we can just smelt the coal, but yeah, we can create the coal from this bituminous coal, but first we just need some charcoal from wood to start going. But later on I'm just gonna use the underground resources. So to stock our metal and coal, I'm gonna need a stockpile of bars and blocks. It can be on this level. Does it really need to be bigger? Probably not that much bigger. Just a little bit to this side, but just a little bit. And after that, I will use that. I will use the miners to dig some meeting spaces and maybe a food zone, food industry zone on this level. Right now I just need a stockpile for food. It's gonna be here. Later on I'm gonna create some doors and so on. Also we need someone to have a job of wood burning and furnace operating. So our butcher is not that busy at the moment, so he's gonna be furnace operator and a weaponsmith. Also, one of the miners has the furnace operation job. Also, the woodcutter can be a furnace operator. We're gonna need at least 2 of them. So now I have to wait till the butcher starts making coal, but he's already on the job, so that's good. I will continue with digging that tunnel to the underground. They already started stacking the food in our food stockpile. Yeah, we have somewhat a lot of iron. It looks like this brown stuff is no, it's a gem, I think. I will check later and tell you. But this one definitely has silver, tetrahedrite, so I'm gonna melt as much of this stuff as I can. Also, I will create a custom stockpile here for weapons and armor. Custom stockpile, and I go to the settings and I enable armor, weapons. Yeah, ammunition's all no ammunition. I'll create a separate for ammunition. Now let's check. Yeah, it accepts all the stuff I need. We also struck some iron on our way down, so I can use this space, which I know has some iron, to create a meeting hall for the dwarves, so they don't stick outside and they don't get hit by rain, and also in case of siege most of them are underground. This is a wagon. This is their current meeting site, so I'm gonna be removing that. The animals by default are going to go to the meeting site unless they are attached to a pasture, which I'm gonna do now. This is a meeting and a zone which I made into pasture. Now I have to manually attach all the animals that needs that need grass to it, basically. Yeah, so I don't have to attach cats and dogs, but I have to attach all the horses and chickens and stuff like this, like farm animals. So this is gonna be the meeting place. Ideally, it should be like a little bit bigger. Also, after that, I will start making some wooden furniture. And not that deep, I should create our first space for barracks. So let's say this will be the zone for barracks, hospital, and stuff like that. Barracks don't need to be that big. Also, it will take a little moment for them to dig this stuff out. But we are finding iron, which is great. I won't have to struggle with iron and maybe even with steel, because I'm not sure if this this rock is not the flux type, which is needed for creation of steel. So that would be great to and uh, start creating weapons of silver and armors of steel this early, so we are prepared when the undead come. Usually, the first invasion is not that big, but it's dangerous because it's the most dangerous one, in fact, because most people don't have the military ready yet with just 7 or 10 dwarves, because they are so needed in other jobs to create items and furniture. I won't designate them to build the furniture zone yet, but it will happen soon after the meeting place is finished. Right here I can see what kind of jobs they are doing at the moment. The mason has no job at the moment, so he could be a furnace operator as well. Let's see, I need to make coke from the coal. Make coke from bituminous coal. Also, if they have time, they can smell some iron and later make steel, but making steel is a process that requires a lot of work, because first you have to make iron, then you have to make so-called pig iron, which is iron with, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of a lot of coal inside, and then the pig iron can be smelted and burned into steel. Yeah, it's more complicated in the real world, but basically in a very short, this is how it works. So you need iron, coal, or flux stone, and then high temperature. We already have our first silver, so we could create the first weapon. I go to weapons, I choose silver as the material, and it's either warhammer or a mace. It's gonna be a warhammer because it just sounds cooler. And he already went to the forge, and he's creating the warhammer. It only requires 1 bar of silver. So I think we are not gonna get more than 3 or 4 warriors before the invasion, so 4 warhammers, it's perfectly fine. The meeting place, it's almost ready. It's 2 more blocks. Oh no. He didn't dig that out right away, so here I'm creating a zone. I'm changing that to meeting area. I'm assigning it as an inn right away, just so we could get some friendly visitors, which could help us fighting against the undead horde. This is gonna be furniture manufacturing area. It could be a little bit bigger. Well, it has to be bigger in the end, but I don't want it to take ages to finish this. Is the warhammer ready? It should be. I think one of them is oh yeah, this for some reason I turned off this zone being a stockpile for weapons. So let's see now. We should see a dwarf putting a warhammer on this stockpile pretty soon. Also, I can as well create the first carpenter's workshop. Just one, because I have no place at the moment. So where's the Warhammer? I want to see this little silver icon. I don't see more steel. Wait. No, this is just the carpenter's workshop being created. Also, we need someone to be a carpenter, probably. He's just a woodcutter. The butcher is a carpenter. The farmer could also do some carpentry. And one mason. The woodcutter could also be a mason, just for now. So I don't have to wait ages for them to finish the buildings. Also, we can start the production of another Warhammer. Let's see, is there something wrong with this stockpile? No, there's not. I guess the guy who created the Warhammer is just busy at the moment, and he's carrying the Warhammer with him. Or he just put it somewhere on the ground, probably at the forge. Yeah, when you click on the forge, you can see there are 2 silver Warhammers at the forge, so the items are not lost, don't worry. Another Warhammer, because I've seen them getting more silver. This is a smelter, so as you can see, a production of pig iron is possible, so we have access to the fluxstone. So with steel, I'm gonna be creating armors. Probably not a full set, but I will start with helmets, mail shirts, and shields for basic defense. Yeah, all of them are too busy. Well, he's not busy. Why are you not producing this stuff? I got a second carpenter, and even a third one, made with stone, of course. Okay, there's an autosave, so I will cut the episodes here, and I will see you next time.